get me to the ceremony on time. We're going to talk about morning preparations and the timing that goes into it. This is so important. Morning preparation and timing on your wedding day. How do you get to your ceremony on time? Now, this is possible. You can actually get there on time. You just have to manage your morning and map it out. Map out every little step of the way. Everything from what time you're going to set your alarm for, to what time your hair and makeup are going to start, what time your hair and makeup are going to finish, how are you going to get to the actual ceremony. And I'm not just talking about the bride or groom, I'm talking about everybody that's close to you, the bridal party, your family. How are the bridesmaids getting there? How are the groomsmen getting there? How is your mom getting there? If you're getting a family member to pick them up, are they trustworthy? Are they actually going to show up? We have seen mornings where they just forgot, and I have brought the mother of the bride to the actual ceremony. These are things to think about. What's on time to you? Is 5 minutes before the ceremony begins arriving on time? Is cueing the music at the exact time on your invite on time? Or is arriving 5 minutes late on time for you? These are the things we're going to talk about step by step from the minute you wake up to the minute you actually arrive at your ceremony. So where'd you start? A bride's morning and a groom's morning are going to be very different. We are going to give a bit more attention to the bride's morning today, but if you're a groom, think about things like how long do you want to be in your suit before you actually leave for the ceremony? Are you the type of guy that's going to just jump in the suit 5 minutes before you leave, walk out the door? Or are you going to give a little bit more time to, say, going to a barber's that morning? Are you going to spend about an hour with products and styling your hair and all these bits and pieces? Everyone's different. Are there suppliers calling in, like photographers and videographers? Allow for this. How are you getting to the ceremony? What's your transport? Are you going to go straight from your morning prep location to the ceremony? Are you going to stop off for maybe a drink with the lads? Does your officiant want you there at a certain time? Will you want to be at the ceremony to greet all your guests? Plan your morning the way you want to spend it. But for now, we're going to get back to the brides. We're going to talk a lot more detail about how to plan a bridal party and the bride's family, how to get them out of the house on time and to that ceremony. So let's talk about hair and makeup. This is going to take up a massive chunk of your morning, and timing this is going to be key on getting you to the ceremony on time. With your hair and makeup, give them the number of people that are actually getting their hair and makeup done and be honest with them. If there's someone you think that might on the morning show up, be it an aunt, a mother-in-law, or even just a sister that says, actually, I think I'd like to get my hair and makeup done too. Ask them beforehand and tell them they have to make a decision. Throwing surprises at your hair and makeup is going to completely throw the timing out. And I've seen this morning after morning. Every person you put in additional without letting them know is going to add another 30-40 minutes to your timing, and 30-40 minutes on a wedding morning is absolutely huge. When you're timing your hair and makeup start time, don't time it from the time you're leaving. Time it from the time you actually need to be getting dressed at. You need to allow for time to actually finish packing up a couple of bags, putting on your wedding dress, adding the details. If you're wearing a veil, putting on the veil. The mistake the majority of people make is they go, right, we're leaving the house at a certain time. We need 4 or 5 hours for hair and makeup, and they count back. They don't allow the time to actually get dressed. And it takes time to get dressed. It takes time for not only the bride to get dressed, but her bridesmaids, her mom, her dad, anybody else in the house. These are all things that will delay you. You need to think about this. So when you're speaking to your hair and makeup, they're specialists at this. They do this all the time. Take their advice. Ask them, how long does it take you to do a face of makeup? How long does it take you to do an upstyle? And actually do the math yourself. Does it make sense what they're saying to you? If what they're saying to you, you think doesn't allow enough time to actually maybe chill out for half an hour once the hair and makeup is done and before you need to get into your dress, or just your dress is a little bit more complicated to get on and you'd like to give it a bit more time, be honest with them and ask them, okay, but could you start a little bit earlier? I'd feel more comfortable that way. But do take their advice. One major thing I'm going to say to you is please make sure that when you're booking your hair and makeup, they're going to be there until the moment you leave the house. Once they've completed the hair and makeup, as I said, there's going to be an hour to an hour and a half of pottering around, getting dressed. If your hair and makeup have left at this point, imagine the scenario, and I have been in this scenario so many times, where the veil comes out. Someone steps on the veil and it comes out of your hair. I've put veils back in for people morning after morning, but I'm not a hairdresser. Your bridesmaids, they're not hairdressers. This then delays things. Or if you come down the stairs to say your mom or your dad or a family member and they see you in your dress for the first time, you have a bit of a tear. Your mom has a bit of a tear. Your bridesmaids are blubbering away in the corner. Is your makeup artist still there? If they are, great, quick fix, done and out the door. If they're gone, you're now trying to touch up makeup. And again, it delays things. So the hair and makeup staying to the very end is the one thing that is so important on the morning, and it's key to your timing. So now that you're actually at the stage of getting dressed, the order that people get dressed in is actually very important. So you don't want to be the first one that gets dressed. Everyone around you in their pajamas puts you in your dress and then they all walk away from you and leave you standing there in a wedding dress. You're kind of restricted as to how much you can do when wearing a wedding dress. The ideal situation is once the hair and makeup is done, bridesmaids, your mom, maybe a sister that's not in the bridal party who was very important to you, your dad, they all need to go and get dressed at this point. You can chill out for a few moments. You might have a bag to finish to pack. You might just want to grab a bite to eat or just have a minute to yourself after a hectic morning. When your mom and key people like bridesmaids, a sister, they're all dressed, it's now time for you to get in your wedding dress. The great thing about this is everyone around you is now dressed. So for photo and video opportunities, everybody is putting you in your wedding dress and they're a little bit more comfortable themselves as well because they're dressed. It looks great in photographs and it looks great in video. Everyone around you then is there to add the details. Your up stylist is still there to add your veil. And then you might want to make a reveal to a dad or family members just kind of walking down the stairs or down the hallway, wherever you are. And everybody can actually have a moment, take a breath, maybe open a bottle of champagne and actually celebrate the fact that we're all ready, we're all about to walk out the door and we're about to actually go to the ceremony and get married. Throughout the morning, you're going to have videographers, photographers around capturing little details naturally as the morning happens. Once you're in your dress, speak to your photographer and videographer beforehand about this moment. Do they want to do some staged family photographs in the house before you leave? Or are they happy to just capture the moments as they happen? You showing your dress to family members naturally, you leaving the house naturally. Everyone captures these moments differently, and ask your photographer and videographer, do they need extra time at this point, and factor it in. So now that you've gotten dressed, you've celebrated, you've captured a few moments with your photographer and videographer, you might want to do some touch-ups with your hair and makeup who have stayed to the very end, so they're there to do that with you. So now we're going to get on to transport, and this is so important. How are you actually getting to the ceremony? And not just you, how is your mom and dad getting there? How are your bridal party getting there? The amount of mornings I've been at and we're about to leave and suddenly someone says, so how are the bridesmaids getting to the ceremony? And everyone looks at each other completely lost. I have driven countless numbers of bridesmaids. I have driven moms to the ceremony because the person you asked to pick up the mother wasn't a hired service and just didn't show up. They didn't mean it. They just completely forgot about the mother of the bride. And now the mother of the bride is in my car. So think about all of these things. Are you getting a vintage car? Is the vintage car going to be a little bit slower getting to the ceremony than a more modern car? Do you need to factor in an extra 10 minutes of travel time in the vintage car? And this is one thing I'm going to give you advice on, and please listen to this. If you're getting a hired vintage car or a modern car and you think, wouldn't it be lovely to give the bridesmaids a trip in the car before the ceremony? The bridesmaids then get in the car and it has to do a round trip back and forward, pick up the bride and back again. This could add anything from 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. It sounds ridiculous, but I have been in the situation where I say, where are the bridesmaids? Oh, they're gone in the vintage car for a spin to the ceremony. We were exactly on time. Now we're 20 minutes late, we're 30 minutes late, so on. So if you want to factor in a round trip for the bridesmaids, everything needs to be pushed back a good chunk of time. And it's not a case of, oh, it's just 5 minutes down the road. You need to factor in getting in the car, getting out of the car, traffic, delays, anything can happen. Avoid round trips where you can. If you really want to do this, please do actually think of the timing and give yourself a little bit of a buffer when it comes to transport. So decide what time you want to arrive at your ceremony at. Once you've decided on your ceremony arrival time, this will then impact your transport leave time, it'll impact your time you're getting dressed at, and it'll impact the time your hair and makeup actually arrive and start the morning. Trust the suppliers you've hired, trust your makeup artist, trust your upstylist, trust your photographer, trust your videographer. These guys do this weekend after weekend. A good supplier will help you in any way. They'll actually go above and beyond outside of their own job role to actually make sure that your morning runs on time. Once you actually have a schedule in place, communicate this maybe to your bridal party, tell your maid of honour or your bridesmaids what the plan is and ask them to help you keep things running on schedule. Sometimes things are running really well and you're feeling really at ease, which is exactly the way you want your morning, but you think, oh, we're grand for time, we're ahead of ourselves, and you kind of sit back and you chill out. Try not to chill out too much, because if you lay back and stop checking the time frame you should be on, you could easily catch up or easily fall behind. So do keep it relaxed, but at the same time, try and keep to the schedule that you've put so much thought into. So do remember to actually enjoy your wedding morning. It's a big part of your wedding day. Smile, enjoy it, relax. It's going to be the part of the day that sets the tone and vibe for the rest of the day. What type of a bride are you? Are you planning to be on time? Are you going to be actually a few minutes late and you're happy with this? Comment below and let us know. If you've been a guest at a wedding, what have you seen? Have you seen the bride that's showed up 10 minutes early and is sitting outside the door waving all the guests in? Or have you been the guest who's sitting in the ceremony space 45 minutes after it's supposed to start? Give us your feedback. Let us know what you've seen. Have you experienced a wedding morning? Have you actually been a bride? What went on? Have you been a bridesmaid before and now you're getting married yourself? What were the things that impacted the timing on the morning? Comment below and let us know. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next video.